Greetings, fellow Gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about Rabbit Trap.
Duck Trap!
No, it's Rabbit Trap.
No, Duck Trap!
Rabbit Trap.
Duck Trap!
Rabbit Trap!
Rabbit Trap!
Duck Trap? Which is a folk horror movie about a British couple that moves to Wales in order to record their atmospheric experimental music albums, but it's recorded using a lot of like Foley sounds around this isolated cabin that they're living in.
Yeah, it's also set in like the late 70s, early 80s.
Yes, it's somewhere in the 70s, I believe. The couple come across a Tylwyth Teg fairy circle, which is a Welsh variation of fairies.
Yep.
And their life is changed henceforth when a weird child shows up at their doorstep and just kind of forces themselves into their lives.
Yeah.
And that's about as far as I can go before we get into the spoiler territory.
Yeah, now, before we go much further, this is definitely a movie that's about something. So if you're like, I'm tired of horror movies being about stuff, well, fuck you.
This is definitely a movie about something.
I was actually really surprised it wasn't an A24 film.
I know. It's actually a Magnolia film.
Yeah.
Which is
Magnolia
close.
film. Close.
Magnolia was making A24 style films before A24. They were just all foreign films.
Yeah.
So basically, the main characters, Darcy and Daphne, played by Dev Patel, and insert actress's name here because I just spaced out on it while we were doing the rabbit trap, duck trap thing. But I'll put their name right here. The two of them are phenomenal in this movie. I love how real and raw their relationship feels. It feels like I'm watching a documentary about real people for like the first half of this movie until things start getting spooky, fairy weird.
Yeah, they do a good job of portraying this relationship that's not necessarily on the rocks, but that there is shit that they're not talking about.
There's stuff they need to work out.
Yeah.
But they obviously love each other.
Yeah.
They obviously have a symbiotic relationship with one another that kind of works.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some stuff they need to address. But that's all exacerbated by the introduction of this random fucking child that will not leave them alone. And at first, it's kind of welcome. Like, they kind of enjoy the child's company, and they kind of get to, like, vicariously pretend to be parents.
Yeah.
With this kid around. But eventually it starts to become too much, and they kind of realize over the course of the story that they really don't want to be parents, which is kind of what this movie's about. This movie is about couples on that verge of when they could make that next step in their relationship.
Yeah, where they could have a child or not, but they haven't made the decision.
Yes. Absolutely, and they're trying to figure that out and whether or not that's right for them. These characters kind of come to the conclusion that it's not really right for them, but we'll talk more about that in the spoiler section.
Yeah.
But like a lot of folk horror movies, this movie is a very slow burn. It's a lot of mood. It's a lot of atmosphere, which is added to the movie through this kind of soundscapey soundtrack they have, which is definitely the stuff that they're recording in the movie.
Yeah. The soundtrack is the hidden fourth character.
Yes.
You know?
In a way, it almost reminds me of some movies like Barbarian Sound Studio, I think is the name of the movie, where it's about a guy who's like recording the sound and Foley and soundtrack for a Giallo film in like the fucking 70s.
Right.
Barbarian Sound Studio, I think it's called. It reminds me of a lot of movies like that, where like the fact that it's about people that record sounds is like a huge element in the movie's actual soundtrack.
Right. Or like Blowout.
Blowout. But it's definitely different from those two films, because at the end of the day, this is a folk horror movie, so you're going to have foresty shenanigans happening in this movie. And what I really liked about this movie is that by the third act, it goes way further than most folk horror films do.
It does.
Because most folk horror films keep it kind of low key, keep it kind of quiet, add that kind of plausible deniability of whether something supernatural or not is happening. This movie, there is no plausible deniability. It is 100% obviously supernatural.
Yeah, there's something supernatural happening.
So I actually thought this movie was really good. It's not going to be for everybody. It's a slow burn, and folk horror is definitely not like a big mainstream moneymaker, usually. Shout out to Midsummer.
Yeah.
But this kind of like folk fairy story horror movie is so low-key, most people are going to be really bored by it, but I was actually super engaged with it. A lot of that lies on the strength of the performances of all three actors involved.
Yeah.
If you like folk horror movies, check it out. If folk horror movies generally bore the shit out of you, if you didn't like Frey Waka earlier this year, another folk horror movie we recommended, then you're probably not going to like this one any better, because those movies are on very similar tones and wavelengths. But if you do like those kind of movies, then this movie is definitely a solid one you should check out. So Rabbit Trap is currently available to rent on various streaming platforms. Pick your poison and enjoy. And with that said, let us move on to the spoilers.
The fucking main male character was raped by his dad.
Yeah.
That's the thing he is hiding. Mm-hmm. And they don't go into graphic detail, but it is a gross scene.
It's shown symbolically through like a demon creature that's like essentially his sleep paralysis demon.
Yeah.
He has this sleep paralysis demon that keeps visiting him every night.
Yeah, that looks like his dad, but it looks like his dad who's eating slime mold.
Yeah.
You know, and mold and slime are very, very prominent in this movie.
Outside of that part of the plot, the kid's part of the plot is his whole goal. He wants to be their kid.
Yeah.
It's almost like the fairies like granting them this wish, but like this monkey's paw wish.
Yeah, it's granting them this wish, which is they kind of want to have a kid, even though they're probably not in a good place to do so.
Or the right kind of person to have kids.
Right.
To be completely honest. Given how this movie plays out. Like, they'd be good aunts and uncles.
Oh, yeah, it'd be amazing aunts and uncles.
But having to be on call 24/7 that you have to kind of be a parent, they don't have that in them.
Yeah, and the fairy kind of demonstrates this as the thing goes on. There's also this line earlier in the movie where they're like, what they say in the movie is they will show you the abyss and they will teach you the lesson that you need to learn.
Yeah.
And this creature does that. But the other thing about the creature is that it is symbolized through sound. And there is this whole discussion in the movie about what happens to sound when it ends. Because the sound has no existence outside of the vibration of the length of however long that lasts.
When the vibration stops, the sound ceases.
The sound ceases, you know, and the creature, it becomes afraid of death. It's like a sound, and one day it will end, and it doesn't know what will happen when that happens.
The other reoccurring thing in this movie is the actual title of the movie, Rabbit Traps.
Rabbit Traps. Yeah.
The idea that is posited earlier on in the movie when they actually come across a rabbit trap is that you put something in the trap that lures the rabbit.
Yeah.
You're trying to lure the rabbit, and then once you've done that, you'll have trapped the rabbit.
Yeah.
This comes up multiple times in the movie, both literally and figuratively. The kid itself is a rabbit trap.
Yeah,
for the
kid
two
is
of them.
both a rabbit and a trap.
Yes. Later on in the movie, they rabbit trap the kid.
Yes.
And they trick the kid into essentially ending its own existence so that they can move on with their lives and leave. At the end of the movie, there's this extended scenario where the kid burns down all the barriers. There's a bunch of plants that keep the fae out.
Yeah, there are these flowers that are supposed to keep the fae away.
And he burns them all down in a rage when they reject him and kick him out of the house. And the entire house just gets taken over by fungus and mold. And so the house is no longer theirs, it's the fae's.
Yeah.
And they have to basically pretend to be a happy family with the kid and eventually lure him to the point where they can tell him a story that basically tricks him into ending himself.
Yeah.
And so they rabbit trap the kid by giving the kid what he wants, a happy family, and he rabbit traps them by giving them what they think they want, a kid.
Yeah. With the kid, they are not living their lives, which is kind of the whole point of their arc. You know, some people can go on with their lives and have kids, not these two.
No.
You know, they need to be a little too free in order to be themselves.
Their entire existence revolves around experimental ambient albums in which they record sounds.
Yeah.
How are you going to be recording like the random raindrops coming from your roof if there's a kid in the background contaminating the noise by screaming?
Yeah, by screaming or doing whatever, you know? The thing that's really, really, really creating the problem is the wife is afraid of motherhood.
Oh, yeah. She 100% has that look of the type of person who would take a baby and like immediately hand it to someone else. They're just no motherly bone in her body.
Yeah. Even though they're quite friendly.
Yes.
They're quite friendly.
She'd be an amazing aunt.
Yeah. Maybe not so great mom.
Yeah.
And the guy, he has this fear that he's going to pass on. It's a common fear of people who've been abused that they're just going to abuse their own children.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a super common fear.
You're going to pass the cycle on.
Yeah. The irony is that if you recognize that, you're less likely to do it.
Yeah, true. And in his case, he's kind of an okay dad at the beginning, but there becomes a point where the kid starts intruding.
When the kid becomes unreasonable.
Well, also, there's a point in which he literally, takes his wife into the fucking fairy world where she's gonna get fucking lost if she didn't, immediately reject it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a movie about parenthood. It's a movie about relationships. It's a movie about abuse, too. It's got a lot going on. There's a ton of shit in this movie to dig your teeth into. Sink your teeth into, I think is the appropriate...
Sink your teeth into, yeah.
The appropriate phrase. And I dug it.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. If you're into dark fairy tales, I really recommend it.
Absolutely. Again, if you liked Frey Waka earlier this year or any movie kind of like that, you'll probably dig this one, too. And with that said, where can they find you, Count Jackula?
Oh, you can find me in a fairy ring called YouTube on my channel, Count Jackula, where I stream every weeknight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we talk about all kinds of groovy things like monsters, blood, madmen, mayhem, and I hope to see you there. How about you?
Y'all know me, I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me on various social media platforms, but these days, I primarily use Blue Sky, so follow me on there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you'd like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages, and remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way, but we will certainly accept more. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, if you made it this far into the video, I want you to comment below, and be sure to comment below using the hashtag #SkinTheRabbit. There's a point in this movie in which a character has a choice to skin the rabbit, but realizes he has no idea how to skin the rabbit and ends up pissing off a fairy in the process.
Yep.
Anyway, my fellow Gorehounds, peace out, and we'll catch y'all later.